in radio.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larsen. You're watching the 505 on Racing Show. Welcome. Getting here today was pretty interesting. I had like chauffeur service, and I had like 25 minutes to get here. It normally takes 40, and I'm here and on time. It's pretty good. I'm getting a little nervous. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good week. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour finally got the Stafford race in. We'll talk about that for a little bit. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the social media that I'm only going to touch upon because I want to put some things to bed here. So we'll wait a little bit on that one. But with the nonsense that's going on here on the Long Island Raceway, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And the Facebooks and the jams and every other place where people could vent and hide behind their keyboards is really, in my opinion, gotten out of control. It's like you could say something, but if you don't say the right thing, when I say the right thing is by somebody feels that you said the wrong thing, people get vicious. And I call it keyboard computer muscles, because these people that are saying some of this stuff, they would not say those things face to face to others. So, I just want to throw that out there. Be careful what you write, because that's in the computer forever, whether you're here on Long Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Oregon, California, Texas. That stuff's there forever. And there's no taking it back, Just be careful what you say, because you never know who you're saying it about, and you never know the effects of your comments, what they're going to bring out. Be objective, be factual, don't be accusatory. Don't, if you have an opinion, say it, but don't go after somebody. In fact, what's making me say is that somebody actually today in one of the social networks told me I was a superstar race car driver. So I actually said to them, kind of wrote back, and not to fall into their problems. I wrote, obviously you don't know me, so you would know I'm not a superstar race car driver. But anyway, what else did I do? Because of some of the stuff that's going on locally, I offered Riverhead Raceway Chief Steward Mike Cappiello the opportunity to come on and talk about the positive stuff that goes on behind the scenes and on and off the racetrack. And throughout the winter months, Mike and I had communicated a few times, and he was all gung-ho about coming on and talking about the changes and things that are coming forth. And so when I asked him to appear live today and to talk about some stuff, he declined, telling me that, and I quote, "big changes are coming by the tour race." And the tour race being the last event in June 28th, where the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour will be at the Long Island Speedway to put on their first of 2 events in their schedule. So he declined. So with that being said, I have decided that unless you guys want to talk about it, when I say it, that's Riverhead Raceway, I'm not talking about it. This is it. No more. You try to help a situation, and try to be positive, and now I know why the negative is out there. So I'm done. I'm done with that. So if you guys want to talk in the chat room, you guys have a party. You guys and gals have a party discussing it, but leave me out of it. And yes, Kevin, I did not attend the events this weekend at the local raceway, and not because of that. There's more to life than going to the races. I went to the Belmont Stakes, and I actually had the winner. So it was a very profitable day for me. I had a great time. It was a long day. Traffic was horrible, but it was well worth it. You do what you got to do sometimes. So yeah, anyway. Yes, the Belmont Stakes. I guess that's racing, right? That's racing. I'm thinking it's NASCAR racing and beyond. So the Belmont Stakes, the third leg of the Triple Crown. Everybody thought the California Chrome was going to walk away with it going out. It posted 4 to 5 odds. So yeah, I'm not a big gambling guy, but you had to bet 5 to make 4. You know, when I say 5, you had to bet $5 to make $4. And not that, again, I'm not a big race gambler. I go maybe 4 or 5 times a year. But what I did is I took the last 3 finishes of each horse and put the average. Now, of course, California Chrome, his last 3 finishes, or their last 3 finishes were first. The horse that came in and actually won the race, their last 3 finishes was 1, 1, and 2. So the odds on them were a little bit higher, so I went with that. And sure enough, my way of picking horses worked out yet again. I got lucky, but it was good. Yeah, anyway, what's going on? I see Tom Baldwin Jr. was at the local racetrack this weekend. Sorry I didn't get to see him. I would have liked to chat with him. Maybe would have had Kevin Basic do an interview with us. And no, Kevin, I'm not going to talk about it. Right? They're done with me. They're done. And you can ask a lot of people, when I'm done with something, I'm done. I'm done with something. But Tom Baldwin, I saw some pictures. Michael Paris from Michael Paris Photography. My personal photographer had some nice pictures that he sent along to me to show me what was going on. And so I thank him. I thank him very much. Let's see, what do I want to talk about? Lenny Simons, in his column, and Lenny Simons is the publisher of Area Auto Racing. He's had a nice little blurb in his column that I was able to pick up, and I want to thank him for that. It's under his notes section. He says, Freddie Kraft is doing well for himself, and I'm reading his little blurb out of the Area Auto Racing News. The Long Island, New York native made a name for himself as a spotter for Eddie Partridge's NASCAR Modified team. Kraft, who helped direct drivers Jimmy Blewett and Ronnie Silk to Victory Lane up north, is now a fixture in the NASCAR garage. Kraft has gone to Victory Lane on the NASCAR Truck Series with Bubba Wallace, a driver he has worked with since his start in the K&N Series. Kraft now has a NASCAR Print Cup Series job with the Tommy Baldwin Racing team, working with rookie driver Michael Annett. He also does the Nationwide Series events that Chad Boat competes in as well. So congratulations to Fred. You know, Fred, some people may know, Fred is his family to me. Real family, not just, adopted family. He's real family. And, it's kind of funny. Fred, we should all take a lesson from Freddie, because Freddie saw a star up ahead and he reached for it. And no matter what got in his way, that's what he wanted to do. And I know that there were jobs that he didn't take, jobs that he may have lost, or jobs he walked away from because it interfered with his racing. And he knew what he wanted, and he went out and got it. So, I'm proud of my little cousin there, and I'm very happy that it's worked out for him. It was funny, we were on opposite sides of the fence there for a little while at the racetrack, but we always respected each other and always looked after each other at the races. So, seeing Fred move up the ranks like this is just, an honor to me, and his family should be proud, because he works hard at what he does. Everybody thinks it's so simple, just, inside, outside, clear. Everybody thinks that's so simple. And when I went to Bristol with Wade Cole, and he asked me to spot from up there, I've spotted it at Martinsville. I've spotted it at Riverhead a little bit. But here we were at Bristol. Man, things happen fast at Bristol. I mean, things happen fast everywhere, but Bristol. And I had to seek out somebody. I said, where should I be standing, number one, and what do we do here? There's a little pit, there was 2 pit roads, and I was confused. I don't know how the drivers figured it out, and I confuse easily. And So I said, Fred, I'm just going to follow you. And the funny thing about it, he said to me, don't follow me. I'm always late for the spotter stuff. You don't want your driver starting last. So Freddie got me a spot, showed me how to stretch your elbows out so you have a lot of room so nobody could crowd you. It was a good day up there. And I'll probably never forget that. Well, I know I won't forget that because I don't forget too many things. I might forget what I had for breakfast today, but I don't forget things from the past. So one of my things. Anyway. What else is area auto racing news? Ernie Saxton. Now, I don't particularly agree with a lot of stuff that Ernie Saxton writes, but he had this thing that in his column, a little number, a 10 list here. And it's things that I've been talking about since I've first flipped the switch and turned on the lights to do the show. And it has to do with promoting racetracks and what you need to do. And Humby Wheeler, as everybody knows, is a race promoter. And as Ernie Sachs says, he has a lot of respect, actually great respect for Humby Wheeler. And Humby had sent out an article titled, Track Promoters, if you aren't doing these 11 things, you're in trouble. Now, I only saw 10 in the column, but anyway. As Ernie Saxon wanted to share it with his viewers and readers, I guess, I want to share it with you folks. And some of these things I've been saying. And the number one thing, it's one of you guys, I see things in the chat room that crack me up. Admission of $10 to $14 for regular shows. He thinks that's a good idea, but the admission price has a lot to do with the type of racing being presented. Later on, Wheeler suggests that if a promoter is paying out more than $10,000 in prize money for a regular show, that is too much unless the promoter is running sprints. That doesn't fit in the Northeast here, but you got to think about that. Admission price to these races needs to be in that range, and that's one of the things I've been saying. I think Kevin Basic, Long Island Need for Speed, has said that as well. Number two, there should be at least 4 to 5 passes for the lead in the main feature. In other words, it needs to be good racing. If it's not a good race, if it's a parade, which sometimes you get when you have a time trial show where you do not invert the field, it becomes a parade without music. The way they start is the way they finish for the most part. So you need to have some pass. You need to have some side-by-side action. There should be 100 or more cars in the pits and less than 4 classes. I've been saying that for a long time. As little dust as possible, and if you're at a dirt track, there are people who wear dirt masks, but remember, gals are paying upwards of $30 for a good hairdo, as he puts it. Some are paying a lot more than that, but you're going to a racetrack, so you got to dress accordingly. If you start at 7:30 p.m., you should be over by 10:25. That's a 3-hour event. A lot of the tracks that I go to, it's about that. It's 2.5 to 3 hours when their events start. And Humby Wheeler writes that there should be at least 2 or 3 rollovers, and I don't agree with that. It's like, I know people like to see wrecks and all that kind of good stuff, but there's still human beings in these race cars. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. He also suggests that a simple menu in the concession stand, candy, ice cream, specialty items in separate areas, as they don't clog up the concession stands. And a lot of tracks do that. The little snacky food is in one area, but their main food, the hot dogs, the hamburgers, and sandwiches, are in another area, and drinks and whatnot. So that's just so that people get on the line quick and get off the line quick. This one I like. This is a big one. You need to have a villain. If you don't have a villain for the kids to cheer or boo, you're not going to get the interest of the children. You need to find a villain. Now, Bob Finan, he's the announcer at Raceway, he had said that in the we had a conversation a long time ago, and he said that there's no characters. The characters are missing. And we're not talking cartoon characters. The guy that would do something outlandish, the guy that would, or gal, would do something that the fans are on their seat cheering on. The guy who would get out of his car after a wreck and walk halfway across the track, throw his helmet, and make it appear like he's going to beat up the other guy, and he puts his head in the window, and his hands are reeling, and he goes, "Hey, dude, I'm really sorry that happened. All right, you okay?" But the fans see the action. I agree with that. Like I said, Bob Fine has been saying that for a long time. The other thing is keep your facility clean. I've gone to some restrooms and some racetracks all over this country where, as a guy, as you know, a guy could just about go anywhere, I was skeeved out by the restrooms. So I can only imagine what a woman has to go through. So you need to have a person in there making sure it's clean, because people are slobs. So I agree with that. And he says here, have a big show at the beginning of the season and at the end, and sell reserve seating. So that was the listing. Some of these things I've been talking about. People thought I didn't know what I was saying. What does he know? As you know, I'm a marketing guy by trade. That's what I do for a living. That's what I did at UPS, business development marketing. Did it for 25 years. I was very successful enough that after 25 years and being 50 years old, I was able to walk out the door, and happily. I wasn't carried out. The gates weren't locked, and they said to stay out. But you gotta, as a track promoter, you have to do some of these things. Now, does that work for every racetrack, every facility, every venue, every locale? No, it doesn't. There's some backwoods racetracks. I don't mean that the track is backwards, but they're in the middle of nowhere in some of these places down south in the Midwest. And there's nothing else to do on a Saturday night or a Friday night. So the people come out. But on Long Island and Connecticut and even in New Jersey, there's a lot of stuff to do, and there's a lot of venues seeking your money as a fan, as a spectator, whether it's rock concerts, whether it's the beaches, whether it's Broadway, whether it's baseball. I mean, the New York metropolitan area has 2 professional baseball teams in the major leagues and 2 minor league teams. And when I say 2, there's one in the lower part of New York State and the mainland, and of course the Long Island Ducks. Now, tickets to like a Long Island Ducks game was like $5, and parking's free. You go to Yankee Stadium or you go to Citi Field. Parking's $20 to $30. The ticket's $100-something, and you're in and out of there in 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But it's something else that's taken away. So the racetracks need to be creative. And the racetracks are being squeezed out all over the country. Where they were built, there was nothing there, nothing around them. There was a 2-lane road to go in, a lane in and a lane out. And there was nothing around them. Nobody worrying about the noise, the sound, and the noise, and the sound, and the noise, and the sound. What has happened is now, and just look here on Long Island, where there was woods for as far as you could see, is now all stores and shopping centers, and you get squeezed out. And, big business usually wins out on that, and all they need is a couple of people in their corner to start complaining about their local racetrack and complain about the noise and complain about the fights and the police and all of that kind of good stuff. So it's just one of those things. As Kevin Basic, Long Island Need for Speed, is saying that, it's like that every night. I don't know. I'm not there every night. I don't know what goes on. But as Let's Go Rangers, have a circus act. So, we'll do. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll have Kevin Basic from Long Island Need for Speed, and I'm sure he's going to want to talk about some of the things that goes on to help make racing good on Long Island. We'll be back.
Hey Beatle fans, I'm Glenn Calderon.
And I'm Lucy Diamond.
Join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Beatles Across the Universe.
On InRavio.com.
Broadcasting to the world.
Catch us.
Paul Brown and the Killing Devils. Alternative progressive rock like you've never heard before. Over 1 million views on YouTube. New York City Village Voice says Paul is a gifted singer, songwriter, and musician with one of the best progressive rock bands on the planet. LA Underground Music Exchange calls him the only modern American band to cover every genre well. Pick up the albums Black Widow Tears, Red Spider, and The Wizard's Dawn, now on iTunes. And get to facebook.com/Killing Devils to keep up with the latest info.
Hi, this is Tony.
And I'm Dan, and you're watching
Dear Dad.
Oh, wait, you're not watching it yet, but you should be every Thursday at our new time from
7 to 8.
That's the new time. Dear Dad on enravio.com.
Only in radio.com.
Where else could it be? Tune in.
On the internet.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. InRavio.com.
Hey, we're back. I believe we have Kevin Basic, Long Island Lead for Speed on. Kevin, you there?
Yes, Joe. I have the results for the first tournament of 12 firemen's tournaments this year at Lindenhurst. First place was the Central Islip Hobos. Second place was the Bayshore Redskins. Third place was my team, the Piston Knockers, with their new $30,000 motor, which ran like an rape tape. Fourth place was the Islip Wolves, and fifth place was, I forget who fifth place was, but overall it was a good day. Stands were packed. Next fireman's drill will be out at Ridge on the 28th of this month, and it's hosted by Selden. And I was at Riverhead Saturday night. Wasn't that great. The modified race was, follow the leader. Wasn't really exciting. Some of the back runners were running pretty good, so you could watch the back runners. But the race wasn't that good. There wasn't many people in the stands. I don't know. And I'll tell you one thing, that track is falling apart. I was over there by 1 and 2, and it's all undermined where that cement patch is,
Right.
and that's where the water leaks out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They need to make some improvements.
Got to put money
Yep.
into places, whether it's your local racetrack or your house or your business. You got to put money in.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to remind everybody about the 16th of August. I'm trying to get hold of some old-time drivers. I talked to a couple of them this past weekend at Riverhead and stuff, and hopefully they'll come out and stuff like that. So hopefully the 16th will be good at Riverhead for the old-timers night.
That should be a good night.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the best I can. So if anybody knows anybody that's an old-timer that raced at Islip, Riverhead, Freeport, anywheres, or anybody from like Connecticut and stuff like that that came down here to race, they're more than welcome to come. Anybody has any vintage cars, any Long Island guys, vintage cars, come on down. And Friday I'm going to be dropping off a lot of VHS tapes to Marty Himes because I've got too many of them. I just recently moved. I live in West Babylon now, off of Sunrise, and I'm running out of room, so I got to get rid of stuff.
All right. And speaking of Marty Himes, August 24th at the Himes Museum, it will be the annual Old Timers event that he holds. So in conjunction with the racing on the 16th, the following Sunday, the 24th, we'll have a nice gathering at Marty's. So it should be good.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that. I missed it last year because I went to the boat races with Betty over there in Long Beach. It was pretty good, you know. You going to Riverhead this Saturday?
I believe so.
All right, good.
I believe I will be there. I think my Riverhead car is getting delivered this week. So.
So what are you going to do, shake it down?
No, I got to get some laps in. So we're going to try to make the show, which hopefully the car counts stay where they are, and I'll get in and get those much-needed laps that Brett Burdine wants me to have before he'll let me race the tour race. So that's the plan for me.
Yeah, I could use a hand doing some more interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do them, they came out good and all that. Just that one weekend, I had the mic all screwed up. I got that fixed and stuff like that. But what are you going to do?
We'll have that opportunity again. I'm sure Jerry Cook will be back, and the other guys are there almost
I'll
every
try to
week.
get him for Old Timers Night because he raced here on the island.
That would be awesome. Yeah, and he did. He was a fixture here when back in the All-Star League days and some of those
Yeah, he
big
used to
races.
run here. Him and Richie came every Friday night to Freeport. I
Yeah.
seen them all summer long at Freeport.
Oh yeah, the good old days. He had
Yeah,
that old
those
Falcon. The Falcon that he talked about, that he was getting paid extra money because he had a Ford.
Yeah.
I can't believe they used to do that. But those are the things they did back then. They did stuff like that to entice drivers to come and give them extra money and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I still don't understand why NASCAR can't put a regular car body on a freaking car. You know, we had this conversation with Jerry, and Jerry's, well, it's technology. Put a regular car body on it so people know it's a Mustang or Camaro or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Really, it's easy to do. It's not hard to do. You can get the sheet metal right from Chevrolet, or you can get it from Ford. Just do it. I know the car won't be designed to go, speed-wise. What's it, aerodynamic? I don't know.
Aerodynamic?
Yeah, but, people can relate to the car, and I guarantee you people will buy more Camaros and Mustangs and whatever bodies they can get.
Yeah, well, they say that race fans are brand loyal to their teams, to the teams that they follow. So I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know if somebody would go out because a guy won his local race in a Ford, would run out to the Ford dealership on Sunday and buy one. But they might be influenced by that.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah, I think they should do that and stuff. Maybe it'll be better for racing and stuff. I like old-time racing, you know that.
Yeah,
like
me
and my
too.
brother, same thing. We go out and we got a flatbed and tow the other car behind in the trailer, just like Wayne Cole. That's us on a Saturday if we go vintage racing and stuff. It's the way we do it. Going home, if it's raining out, the car gets soaked. You know the deal. Not in a $600,000 hauler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, and I'm going to say this. The young guys or kids that race today, you rub them, you push them, you shove them, you go door to door with them, and they're all upset with the guy who did that or gal who did that, because I don't know, maybe you scratch their paint or mess up their chrome North bar. And then they want to go wrecking people and on purpose.
That ain't racing.
That's not racing.
The old days, I could show you VHS tapes of Wayne Anderson and Bob Park or Bill Park riding side by side, passing on the outside clean.
Yep.
Just using the bumper to get him just a little bit loose, then pass him. Not trying to get him so loose that he spins out.
Yep.
That ain't racing. Come on.
Just enough to push him up a half a groove so you can get a wheel in there.
Yeah, right.
Not what some of these guys are doing today.
They got to get more discipline at the racetrack and stuff like that. This weekend, Fortin wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Maybe because the week before they had the fights, or maybe Fortin just got fed up and said, I'm not going there anymore. I can't blame the guy.
For those who don't know, that's 3 race cars.
Yeah.
You lose 3 race cars. When you only have like 15 and you lose 3, that's 20% of your field. 20% of your field didn't show up because one guy's upset.
Yeah, right.
That's, how many people he brings and,
right.
I mean, we were down by his hauler. There had to be 20 people helping him out.
Yeah, right.
But, that's 20 people that stayed home.
Yep.
And facetiously, I put on Facebook that I'd more than happy to go help out as a competitor liaison. They need somebody to talk to competitors who aren't coming. Like Bobby Finan, the PR guy, announced and said it pains him to see haulers driving past the track to go race elsewhere.
Yeah, a majority of Long Island modified guys are going tour racing.
Yeah, tour racing, Mountain Speedway, Evergreen Speedway. They're going other places, and nobody's asked them why.
I know the reason why, because they're fed up because there's favoritism at Riverhead, and there's other things. You got the guy that works on the motors is a tech inspector, and he builds motors. It's not supposed to be that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then the comedies make the call, and it's not the right call because they're friends with the person that made the bad maneuver. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah,
they threw out, and I'm pissed off. They threw out somebody that knew racing, but they gave him a job of just lining up cars, and that was Mike. Mike ran Mountain Speedway like you wouldn't believe. That track had so many cars there and all. It's hurting now because Mike ain't there.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if they had Mike in charge, things wouldn't be happening the way they're happening.
And I learned this, and maybe I learned it the hard way, but when you're a head official, no matter what series, what track, whatever you're doing, you don't have friends. There's no friends that you have driving. And you have to approach this that way, because if car number 5 messes up, you're going to make that call, you're going to make that decision. But if car number 5 is your buddy, you might think twice.
I wouldn't do that. I would not show any favoritism. Even if I had a kid, and the kid rough rides somebody, I'd be like, that's it, park the car. You're not driving. And you know what? I think my kid would learn that, because it's going to aggravate him that he's not in the car.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to do more of that. And I even made a suggestion today, because when your car counts a week, suspending people hurts everybody. What they need to do is it's hefty fines and take away points. You DQ the guy for that night, or the gal, you DQ them, and then you hit him with points, because that's why everybody's there, to get that $5 trophy at the end of the year. So if you take 25 points away, man, your top 5 trophy now becomes, you didn't get any because you lost 25 points or 50 points. Or if it's a flagrant thing, 100 points. There's a provision in the rule book for that to take the loss of points. And Lynn Carroll, who was the competition administrator in NASCAR, him and I had many discussions about that over the years, and it was put into the points, maybe 8 or 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was put into the rule book that you could take away points. Because fining people, you got guys buying a set of tires for $700 in a division that pays $100 to win. Money doesn't faze these guys. So take away the points, and they might think twice. They might think twice. But anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Kevin, I appreciate the the updates on the fire department tournament that was at Lindenhurst Fireman's Memorial Park this past weekend.
Right,
if I'm
the
not
place
mistaken.
was packed out, $5 to get in, standing room only.
Unbelievable.
I stayed there for a little while, then I left about 3 o'clock to go to Riverhead.
I was on the boat all day on Sunday, and when I got off, I was going home. It was on Sunrise, and I saw all the rigs heading back, and I was like, "Oh, that's right, that was today." And it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Next one, like I said, is the 28th of June, and that's out at the Fireman's Park in Ridge. It's hosted by Selden. It's a 9 a.m. start. If anybody wants any results or watch any videos or all that, go to NewYorkStateDrillTeams.com.
All right.
All right. So
Kevin, I thank
I'll see
you.
Saturday. I got to go to a meeting right now at the firehouse.
You got it. As always, thank you very much for all your input. All right, Kevin Basic, Long Island Need for Speed. The phone lines are lighting up tonight, man. Wow, we got the figure eight champion from 2013, Kenny Hyde Jr. on the phone tonight. Kenny, out there.
Yes, sir.
Kenny, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad. How's it going, Joe?
That's all right. What can we do for you this fine evening?
Just wanted to see what you had to say about the Peterson little incident and the whole thing with the officiating on the racetrack.
Well, I wasn't there, Saturday, but I did see video of the incident, and I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that. And what do you do? I mean, here's a young driver trying to make it through come up through the ranks, drives a modified, drives a figure eight car, and is a decent driver. He doesn't need to do stuff like that. And
I agree, but at that point, there's nothing you really can do. It's just heat of the moment, and everything is going on inside the car, and then you got somebody in your ear that might be telling you what to do.
And I understand that heat of the moment because nobody was more heated a moment than I was when I was a driver, and it took me a long time to get rid of that. And so I understand that, and you're already like on the edge, you're ready to rock and roll with somebody, and you have somebody in your ear with your spotter, who's, in my opinion, I think the spotter should be calming the driver down, not adding fuel to the fire. Now, again, I wasn't there, but I can only go about what I was told. And those things happen, and we've all learned that, yourself included, that sometimes you just need to take a deep breath and sit back. We can't have people hurt in race cars, especially post-race.
No, especially with the car counts the way they are right now.
Exactly. And that's not helping.
A lot of money to rebuild those cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's not helping the fan base. It's not helping the publicity, and now you got a guy that's hurt who's already racing on a shoestring due to the injury this past off season to his son, who was sledding.
That's the biggest part that I don't agree with, is because now you took one guy's going to try his best to get out there, and now he can't.
Right. You're hitting the nail right on the head, Kenny. It's just, now, this guy gets to fix a car that he probably can't fix right now.
No, I know Mr. Peterson, and he's, as you know, he's a very good guy, and he just doesn't have the funds to put it back together.
Yeah.
And as far as the officiating out there, it sucks. They need to get rid of everybody, like Kevin Basic just said. As far as Walter being a head tech inspector, and then you have him being a tech inspector and a motor builder, there's the conflict of interest. That's the biggest reason of car counts being the way it is, I believe.
Well, and I agree with that. There was always that little thing where certain officials were involved with certain teams, and like you said, you have a tech guy building motors, and for some reason the owners of the racetrack think he's only building one or two, and he doesn't tech those cars, and anybody that signs in through the back gate knows that that's not true. That's something that needs to be addressed, and the man just has too much power at that racetrack, and you can't have that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Other than that, How's your season going?
It could be better. Got off to a rough start opening night,
Yeah.
and then we pulled out top 5, and past Saturday we got bit by the flat monster with 3 flats.
I saw that in a video. You kept pulling into the pits, and I couldn't really see it was clear why. But now you're saying you had flat tires, so.
Two left rear flats and 1 right front flat.
So that's tough, and it's not an easy place to pit. And sometimes you pit, they don't wait, and it's have trouble getting out. For those who don't know, Rivet Raceway, there is no pit road. You have to actually leave the racetrack and go
All the way down to the back and
all the way down to the back,
horseshoe.
turn around, and years ago there used to be officials along the way that could tell the guys on the ramp, the guy's moving, the guy needs another 10 seconds, and I don't see that anymore. And it and I hate to say this, it depends on who you are, whether they wait or whether they shut the gate and go racing.
Well, that's the track's biggest problem. They got too much favoritism.
Well, yeah, and there's no.
And I'm not going to mention any names of my opinion on it, the situation, but they got too much favoritism with certain people in every division. It's not just figure eights, it's not just the modifieds. It's every division.
It's everywhere. You're right, and it's I don't know. There's a guy in the chat room, Kenny. He's recommending that you run tubes. You won't get as many flats.
I run Hoosier tube and Tommy Kraft. I always bust his chops every time when I get a flat with a Hoosier tube.
Yeah. He used to do the same thing to me because I used to get a lot of flats, and I broke down and brought out some tubes, and I don't know if I was lucky and didn't get any more flats or he was right. I don't know which one it was, but I stopped getting flats.
They work, but I just, like I said, no matter what happened to me, I just got that flat monster Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know. Now, Kenny, you were a guest on our show not too long ago, and we kind of briefly touched upon what you were looking to do in the future. Now, is the future for the figure eight division here in Long Island, do you think it's strong, or do you think they're in trouble?
A little bit of both. There's not too many newcomers recently. I mean, we got, I think within the last 2 years, we got 4 drivers that are actually 5 drivers now that are new to the division. But it's almost like you lose 1 car, you gain 1 car, then another one steps out, so you're right back to where you started.
Right, because there's a handful of cars sitting for whatever reason, and now it looks like there's going to be another one because they're trying to get it back together.
Yeah. I know there's 1 car just about ready to come back out and race. Actually, 2 of them. But I mean, as for right now, I think we're bouncing around 10 to 12 car counts in the division, and if guys can just work together and unnecessary incidents happen, you should be able to, there's no reason why we can't pull a 15-car field by the end of the season.
I agree, and there's no reason. When you do the number, when you sit down and the drivers and cars and cars and drivers and car owners who have cars, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a 15, 16-car field. I agree totally.
Yep.
You got to wonder why there's not. Even
with the payout that you get for Riverhead, if you're not buying tires, it's almost a not so cost-effective division to run.
Right. Yeah, you could make money there. I know I did. I mean, we weren't running up front, and we were on a tire and a fuel deal, so whatever the payoff was clear. So we made money racing figure eight cars, and unfortunately, the guy who bought my old figure eight car isn't going to compete with it, but. But that car was time. It was time for it to retire. The old 6-cylinder. It was time. But I do see the figure eight division flourishing. But my fear is there's a handful of people in that class that are going to ruin it with some of the nonsense that goes on. And you can't have that. You just can't have that. The Cromedy Cup race was one of the best figure eight races that I've seen in quite some time.
That was an awesome race between everybody. I mean, I know that like Arnold Peterson and we were running for 3rd and 4th, and then you had Tommy Rogers and Roger Maynard. They were right up there fighting for the lead every lap of the race. And it was like you said, it was one of the best races we had in a long time.
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand. You have a race like that, which I thought was going to be a wreck fest because of the payout that they were paying off.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
And then you go, a couple of weeks later, and you have what you had the other night, and I'm like, what changed? What changed? I don't know.
It was 2 weeks off, and everyone thinks they're going to go out and win the race on the first lap, and guys aren't using the patience in their head.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head again. You know, race car drivers want to race. And you give them a couple of weeks off, they get antsy, they want to go out there, they want to win the race on lap 1, and they want to run up front, and they don't care how they get there. And then it becomes a caution-marred event. And now everybody's pissed because that guy hit him, or that guy bumped him, or that guy shoved him up out of the way. He's going to pay him back, and now you have another caution. And as Ed Cox used to say, cautions breed cautions. And it just makes for a bad race. So I don't know, but you know, I know there's a bunch of you guys trying to keep it good, keep it going, putting on good shows, and you're one of those guys.
Even just like myself and Gary Fritz Jr., we're trying to rebuild a safer club and trying to get more people involved with it, and we were trying. When we're getting somewhere a little bit, not a lot that we would like to, but we're getting there slowly.
There you go,
a couple more people involved with the club and try to raise some money for Point Fund and help other guys out.
And the club folks that Kenny Jr. is talking about is the SAFER, the Suffolk Association of Figure Eight Racing, has a Point Fund, has its own awards banquet, and they do a lot, you know, to help the guys that are in the club. And you know, Kenny, I can't understand for the life of me why there are drivers in the figure eight division that aren't involved in SAFER. I just don't understand that.
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I don't do it for the money. I do it to be part of a club and to try and get something that I want as a division. That's what it used to be, and that's what it should still be.
Yeah.
Not the club that is recently falling apart that we're trying to, now we have to pick up and put all the pieces back together.
Right. Yep. No, well. All right, Kenny, we got to take a break. I appreciate your calling and your input. You know, I think the figure eight division, if guys could work together and stick together and get past some of the nonsense that went on this past weekend, I think we'll be all right. When I say we, I consider myself a figure eight guy. I've been in SAFER on and off since 1977, and so I've been in SAFER longer than some of the guys that are in it have been alive. There's only like 3 of us left from the old days, so you know, we don't always agree on what needs to be done, but you know what? Sometimes you got to agree to disagree and make it happen. So
either that or come to a happy medium level.
Exactly, and you know, and the fact that everybody has their opinion and wants to do whatever they're trying to push forward, that shows that there's passion there. So, and that's what we need. We need everybody working and listening to the other guy and trying to get past some of the nonsense that went on, like what happened this past Saturday night. So, Kenny, I thank you for taking the time to call us up tonight. It's always a pleasure.
All right, thank you, Joe.
All right, man, have a good one. We're going to take a break. We come back, we'll talk about some more good stuff. We'll be back.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, Beatle fans, I'm Glenn Calderon.
And I'm Lucy Diamond.
Join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Beatles Across the Universe.
On InRavio.com.
Broadcasting to the world.
Catch us.
Brown and the Killing Devils. Alternative progressive rock like you've never heard before. Over 1 million views on YouTube. New York City Village Voice says Paul is a gifted singer, songwriter, and musician with one of the best progressive rock bands on the planet. LA Underground Music Exchange calls him the only modern American band to cover every genre well. Pick up the albums Black Widow Tears, Red Spider, and The Wizard's Dawn, now on iTunes. And get to facebook.com/Killing Devils to keep up with the latest info.
Hi, this is Tony.
And I'm Dan, and you're watching.
Dear Dad.
Oh, wait, you're not watching it yet, but you should be every Thursday at our new time from
7 to 8.
That's the new time. Dear Dad on nradio.com.
Only nradio.com.
Where else could it be? Tune in.
On the internet.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, we're back. Yeah, before I forget, I just want to ask you folks if you could say a little prayer for a real good friend of mine, John Trotter Jr., who's suffering from cancer. Was put into the hospital last week with pneumonia, and the last word I got was his siblings are on their way up. He's in Rhode Island, on his way up to go see him. So keep him in your prayers and give the family strength to get through this. He was a good guy. He was one of the guys that when I was officiating the tour, I went to Thompson. More times than that, I stayed by his place, and he lives on 6 acres, and in the back was a nature reserve and a watershed, and some of the wildlife that we would see there, just sitting there having a cold beer with his pellet stove, and just talking racing. He was he had this thing in his basement. He had a nice finished basement with all his collectible cars. And when I say big, this place was huge. All his collectible cars. He was a big Budweiser fan and Budweiser racing. And anytime I was able, I would get him Budweiser stuff. And I had gotten him a Budweiser flag, a big 3x5 flag. And I just got it. I gave it to him. I didn't know what he was going to do with it. And he folded it up similar to the way you fold an American flag, but he folded it so the Budweiser showed, and he put it on his show. So, keep Johnny in your prayers. Real good friend of mine, and I don't say that about a lot of people. And prayers for his kids. He has 3 kids: his son John and John III, and his daughters Maria and Adriana. So, and of course his wife, his mom, his sisters, and his brother, and all the nieces and nephews and friends that go with that. So anyway, what are we talking about? NASCAR has announced that the Wheel Engineering has signed on as the race entitlement sponsor for the invitation-only special event featuring current and past champions from NASCAR's modified tours. That would be the Southern Tour and the Northern Tour. The event will take place at New Hampshire Motor Speedway Friday, July 11th, with a 40-lap shootout. The procedure is like this: 40 laps. 2 20-lap segments. The field will be capped at 20 drivers in this non-point event. The lineup for the first event will be determined by a random draw. Before the second segment begins, a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 10 positions in running order will be inverted. A competition caution will be used to reset the field after 20 laps. And laps completed during the competition caution will not count. Planned pit stops will not be allowed during the race, and there will be a time limit. To be eligible for this event, all current and past champions of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour. The 2013 Whelen Modified Tour and the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour Rookie of the Year will be allocated starting positions. Any other positions, if they can't get 18 past champions and the 2 rookies, any empty positions will be filled by drivers with the most wins in the current modified tours that they respectively race in from the point of 2005 to June 20th of 2014. The other good thing is NASCAR has announced that this event will be televised by Fox Sports. So that race will be held the Friday of the NASCAR event at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the day before the touring event, which is the following Saturday. Todd Szegedy will be in the Rob Fuller Motorsports number 15. For the event at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and he will also race the car in the New Hampshire race on that following Saturday. Szegedy has 18 career wins and 10 poles in the Tour. He was the 2003 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion, did some time in the Nationwide Series, and he will be, again, part of the shootout. Todd Szegedy, good guy. I enjoyed Todd. Todd and I, was one of the guys when I was talking about going back racing. He was one of the guys I talked to, and he's a former champion with all these wins, 18 career wins in the series, and there it was one day, and I crawled from underneath his race car, and I was, Todd, I'm thinking about going back racing, and he goes, and first thing he said was, why? And he started laughing, and when I gave him the why, he understood that, and. I don't want to go through life saying, man, I should have, would have, could have, but I didn't. So it's something I have an opportunity to do, I'm going to do it. Now, NASCAR is kind of, not that they're putting a kibosh on it, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make sure that I'm able to do this, and there are things that I need to do, and we're just like almost there. We had to build a Riverhead car. When I say we, my hands didn't get dirty. So I got to thank my crew, my car runner Wade Cole, and all the guys up there in Robertsville, Connecticut, at the shop that are making this happen. I got a phone call from Wade Cole just Friday. We were chatting, and they're going to bring the car down. I don't know when. I'm hoping they bring it down in time that I can get at least a race or 2 at Riverhead before the Riverhead Tour race, so that I could notify the powers to be that I did the laps that they want me to do, so I could at least run the Riverhead Tour race. I was hoping to make it happen so I could run Waterford, but that's not gonna. I just couldn't make that happen. There's a couple of things that go with it. First of all, we only have at the time, one car, one motor, and it was a tour motor and it was a tour car, and you don't want to mess up your moneymaker running a weekly show. A lot of people are saying, well, what kind of money were you going to make? You're not, as one guy put it on Facebook, calling me a superstar, which I'm not. So we decided that the team decided there were enough parts laying around that we were able to put a car together, and it's ready to rock and roll. It's a Spafco chassis. I got a lot of advice from Art Barry and his son Kenny on what to do, and setups, and even Riverhead setups, and hopefully a Riverhead local will tweak it. Let me know how close we are. And I think that'll happen, because I think they'd rather race with me than to have me so out to lunch that I wreck myself or them. So anything can happen. But that's the plan going forward with that. I mean, I've been in constant contact with NASCAR over the last couple of weeks over some other issues, and not issues, just things that we're talking about. And I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, and let's go Rangers, face-off time. So good luck there, Billy, and I hope the outcome is what you would like it to be. As an Islander fan, my two favorite teams are the Islanders and any team playing the Rangers. So we're kind of going against each other, but I'm a New York guy, so if the Rangers win, it's not a bad thing. So enjoy the game. But anyway, that's what we're looking to do. Race-wise, it's, as many people know, it's not my most favorite place to race a modified, because I don't think there's enough room on the track. A lot of stuff happens real quick and real serious, and it's not. And I've said this over and over again. When you're making a turn every 2.9 seconds, by the time your spotter hits the button and says, spin in turn 1, and you're coming off a 4, you're in it. And for those who say that people, wreck people on purpose, I don't believe that. I mean, there are times when they do, don't get me wrong, but there are, most accidents on a racetrack are just that. They're called accidents. And, I wish people would understand that. I really do. I would love for a driver to get out of his race car and say, it was my fault, I misjudged. But, when you have two drivers with an 86-inch wide race car, with a 108-inch wheelbase, both going for that same piece of asphalt at the same exact time, the sparks are going to fly and stuff's going to happen. And, I think drivers understand that. It's the crews and the friends and the fans who just add to it. And, hopefully people get to understand that. Nobody wants to wreck on purpose, and it's just a part of racing. From the first time a race was ever held, there was an accident. Cars got wrecked, and hopefully the biggest thing that the competitor has to do is brush the dust off and spit the sand out of his mouth. But just understand that nobody wants to wreck. And nobody's going racing, I'm going to wreck that guy. I mean, I would hope they're not, because if they are, they don't belong on a racetrack. They belong doing something else. Maybe they need to be in ultimate fighting or something, I don't know, or the WWE. Maybe that's where they should go. But, if they want to, fight every week. Years ago, I was with a race team. We were going somewhere. We were going to a racetrack. And right from the get-go, it was not good. There was words outside waiting to sign in, and the car owner turned around to his crew. He goes, "Look, guys, let me know right now, before I buy tires. Did we come here to race? Or did we come here to fight? Because we're gonna fight. I won't buy tires. I won't buy fuel. We'll just go pick the biggest guys here. We'll fight them, and then whatever happens at the end, either we'll go home, go to the hospital, go to jail, wherever. But if you want to go racing, let me know, because we can't do both." And I kind of looked at him like, oh, man, what did I get myself into? But we went racing. The fights happened after still, but that's just how it is sometimes. But, nobody's going to a racetrack to wreck on purpose. Please, if you think that is, and I know a lot of people go to the races as fans to see the wrecks, but they're not on purpose for the most part, at least the ones that are during the race. The ones that are after the race, those are on purpose, and those need to be dealt with severely. And as one guy said, maybe they should be banned for life. I don't agree with that. I don't agree for that. there should be penalties assessed, but they need to be consistent penalties. You know, if a guy last year did that and, you know, wrecked somebody at the end of the race and, you know, you told the guy he has to sit out 2 weeks, and it was, you know, 2 non-NASCAR events, and you counted those as 2 weeks. Well, then the next guy that does the same thing, and his division has 2 weeks off, well, he missed his 2 weeks too. So you got to know how to write these penalties, and when you talk to them, NASCAR's going to write what you tell them. You're gonna go. You're gonna say, hey, listen, NASCAR, you know, driver A and driver B did this, and this. They violated Rule 12-4A, subsection 2, paragraph D, and it says there I could fine them up to this amount, suspend them up to this amount, and you know, you need to be careful how you write your penalty as an official, and because NASCAR's, like I said, they got to write what you say. Jerry Cook years ago would advise you, and he would even say, well, didn't last year that you had so-and-so and you only gave him a $200 fine? Why is this guy at $500? Let's make it to, you know, and again, like I said earlier in the show, fines don't bother nobody. They don't, I'm telling you, they're spending $700, $800 for a set of tires for $105 to win, you know, so in some divisions. And, you know, so fines don't bother nobody. I fined a guy once initially $10,000 on a Saturday night awaiting what NASCAR was going to say on Tuesday. And, well, actually, yeah, on Tuesday, after my conversation with them on Monday. And within I don't know, less than a half hour, the guy had a check. He was so, you know, if he would have won every feature for the next like 10 years, he wouldn't have made that $10,000 back. So it's not about the money with a lot of these teams. It's about that piece of plastic at the end. And that's why I think points should be the punishment. Take away points. And I think a lot of guys and gals will calm down. You know, think about it. When you know, in the weekly series, it's a 50 points for the win. Now a guy messes up, so you disqualify him for that night. So whatever points he or she would have got that night, they're not getting. So they already not getting those points. So let's say they're, on average, they get 40 points because they're a top 5 driver. Now you fine them 50 points. That's 90 points. That's 2 wins. To make that up, which you really never make up, that's 2 wins they have to get. 2 wins are tough to get sometimes at a racetrack. So it's in the rule book. It's in there. I wish officials would use that. Fine points. You know, let the guy run this week. You know, got low car counts all over the country. Let him run. Let him run. Make him start last, and last sometimes is 12th. But take the points away. I'm telling you, there'll be a whole different attitude. You start taking points away, or you make that guy. You bother that guy. You bring him in tech, whether he finishes first, second, third, 20th. You bring him in tech, you tear the motor down. There's an expense associated with putting the motor back together. That's how you handle wise guys. I'm not saying that's what we did at the local track or what we did on the tour, but I could tell you, there was one guy that came to me in Mansfield, Ohio, and says, why am I always the at-random guy? I don't know, Stan. Maybe you're the random guy because of the way you talk to the officials. I don't know. You ever think about that? You ever think of talking nicer? Well, he did start talking nicer. And all of a sudden, he wasn't the random guy anymore. I'm not saying that's why he was the random guy, but something to think about, something to ponder. Something to ponder for sure. Yeah, anyway. What happened this weekend? Some race went on. Let's see. The Formula One cars did the Canadian Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo, I hope I said that right, Ricciardo from Australia. That doesn't sound like an Australian name, but it is. He was the winner. Nico Rosberg was second, adding some points to go to continue to be the point leader. Sebastian Vettel was third, and Jenson Button was fourth, and Nico Hülkenberg was fifth. The Indy race went on. Ed Carpenter was the winner there. Will Power second. Juan Pablo Montoya, we all know that name, was third. Simon Pagenaud was fourth, and Scott Dixon was fifth. Indy cars, again, I try to watch them. There's no passing. and there's a lot of this road course stuff and route of cities and towns, and it's not like it was years ago. There's an old movie out from back in the '60s, I think, that showed this Formula One stuff that going on and what goes on behind the scenes. There was racing back then. I mean, they raced. It was side by side. I don't want to say beating and banging, but there was a lot of, there was a little rubbing. I'm rubbing, and stuff like that. And I watched a movie last summer called Rush about Formula One racing. And again, it was a love story, but a behind the scenes look at the racing. And I thought it was an awesome movie. It got bad reviews. It didn't last very long. And if you get the chance to get that movie or to see it on demand, you might want to check it out. It's not so much like the Big Wheel with Mickey Rooney from back in the '40s, but it was a good movie. It was a real good movie. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We come back. Wow, he just broke up the control room. It looked like it was his head snapped up, man. Holy cow. I have fun doing that to them. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll talk about the trucks in Texas.
Hey, this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Kinnear, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on InRadio.com, broadcasting to the world, so come and catch us.
For over 60 years, Hansen Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hansen Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansenCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hansen Carpet has got you covered. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Welcome back. All right. Nice conversation during the little break here. We were talking about the background of the chat room. They don't like it. I'm getting messages that they don't like the background. It's hard to read. So I don't know. I thought it was hard to read because I can't see anymore because I just can't see. I'm old. But I guess not. But anyway, the trucks are at Texas. Texas. Wow, I'm having trouble talking today. Matt Crafter was the winner with Justin Lofton second from the pole. Joe Nemechek third. Ryan Blaney fourth. John West Townley fifth. Ron Hornaday Jr. sixth. Johnny Soda seventh. Brian Slats eighth. Joey Coulter ninth. And Darrell Wallace Jr. rounding up the top 10. So the trucks at Texas. I don't understand that truck schedule, but I don't know. Yes, Mowgli Love, I am old. Well, actually, I'm not old because old is 10 years older than what I am. That's old. So I still feel young. I still feel young. We'll see how young I feel after 35 laps, let alone 200. It's funny. I was at, not last Sunday, a couple of Sundays ago, I was at the beach, and I had to go back to the car and get something. And I wasn't that far down. And coming back, I was like out of breath. I couldn't believe it. Walking in the sand and stuff. But I wasn't out of breath at the Belmont Stakes, let me tell you. I was able to run to the payoff window to collect my winnings. It was all good. They should have like betting on race cars. They really should. I mean, I think they do in a lot of tracks, you know, unbeknownst to the powers to be. Because I used to see people like, you know, putting money in a hat. The race would start, and then they'd hand that hat to somebody. Again, maybe it was a pool, I don't know. But I think there should be better, because Vegas in the Cup Series, Vegas gives you odds, you know, and you see people like, you know, Danica Patrick, they're 100 to win, but then you see, you know, Jimmy Johnson, he's, you know, 3 to 1. You know, Dale Jr. is 4 to 1. You see stuff like that. You know, Vegas has, you know, odds on everything. So, I mean, I'm sure if NASCAR could figure out a way to get a piece of it, there'd be pari-mutuel betting in Sprint Cup and Nationwide and trucks. Why not? It would make it interesting. I think there'd be more fans would come. Guys would have the little books that the NASCAR gives out with all the drivers and all their stats, the official book that has everything. It's like the Bible of racing. They used to give it to you with your license. Now you have to download it online. And I could see like guys walk in with, you know, with hats on and stuff and a big cigar and you know figuring stuff, getting that calculator out and betting on the races. Now maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm thinking that would bring a lot more interest into the sport. Just think about it. All right. Danica Patrick's 100 to 1 to finish. See, there's odds on everything. I mean, I hate to see what the odds of me are. Man, it's gonna be like 1,000,000 to 1. You know, but you got to be in it. You got to be in it to win it, as they say. But I don't know. I think that would be a good thing. And people think I'm nuts at some of the stuff I come with. Like I have like way too much time on my hands to think, because I'm just a barn guy now. I'm just a barn guy. I'm not at UPS where I have the pressure of billing $20,000 a day out of 100 accounts, 9 of which are like out of business. And it's kind of funny because when you think about it, it's $20,000 a day I had of bills. That's $100,000 a week. So let's say this week I billed $200,000. That's good. Now next week I billed $1 less than I'm supposed to. I billed $99,999. UPS would say, Joe, what are you doing out there? What are you doing? What's happening? You didn't make your number. Well, I doubled it last week. We're not talking about last week, Joe. We're talking about this week. Just like racing, We're not talking about Gagos Paisano. We're talking about you. But anyway, think about it. Think about betting on NASCAR. Now, there's got to be rules with that. You can't be on a team. You can't be the driver. They're going to be like Pete Rose. He bet on baseball. Now he's banned from the Hall of Fame. Because he bet on baseball. Maybe he even bet against his own team. I don't even know. Or the 1919 White Sox. They call it the Black Sox scandal because they threw the World Series, alleged threw the World Series for gamblers to make their money. Oh God, they made more money from the gamblers paying them off than they would have if they won the World Series. So there would have to be rules. There have to be rules. Again, you can't be a member of a team. You can't be a driver, owner, crewman. You can't be a family member. You can't hold a valid NASCAR license. So technically, for this week, I could probably bet, because I don't have a valid NASCAR license right now. I'm waiting for a new one to come or something. That's a whole other story that I don't even want to get into. But when you think about this betting on NASCAR, and like off-track betting, the OTBs, they get a piece of the pie. That's why the payoffs are a little less at OTB than if you're live at the racetrack. So why not? Be a good revenue source. You can form a whole other corporation to do that, and you go from there. Just thinking. People think I'm nuts to think about this stuff. I got nothing but time to think about this kind of stuff. Nothing but time. And believe me when I tell you, there are some days I just sit there and I go on my phone and look stuff up. I say to myself, who was the first guy to pull a potato out of the ground and say, let's eat the root, not the top? Somebody had to be the first. Like when racing started. If you ask Richard Petty, when did racing really start? And he'll tell you when the second car came off the assembly line at the Ford plant. That's because those two guys, they raced to the spot in the parking lot where they had to park those cars. To him, that's when racing really started, when they built the second car. But you guys, Moogly Love. I'm thinking I know who Moogly Love is, because there's certain things he's saying. Because I think I had a certain soup with Moogly Love. I'm thinking we had a certain soup, and then we had the Rich Porter hot dogs. Moogly Love Town. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, but I think that would be interesting. I think that would gather up, even in the local series. You have a little way to bet, to win places, and you think there's a lot of nonsense going on now? Man, imagine that. Just imagine, it's like, let's just say a head tech guy is people he knows, they bet big money on the 97 car to win. And the 97 car comes in second. They call him on a cell phone. Hey, head tech guy, we just bet 100,000 on the guy that came in second. You need to disqualify the guy. We'll cut you. No, I'm thinking that stuff would happen. So it'd be hard to control that. Yes, the late Walt Edsel, Finger Dog. Yeah, so Moogly Love. See, I can usually figure out who's who, so I'm not going to give up that thing. But I want to share that story with the Walt Edsel Finger Dog. Here we are. We're in the office. It's the end of the night. And usually there's like a line of people who want to complain. And it's the late Walt Edsel, he's the head guy, myself, Mike Scarito, I think Grava was there, Mike Rickett, the flag guy, this is the Riverhead days. And we're sitting there when we finally get our last complainant, to come in. Because nobody was coming in the office at the end of the night to say, hey, you guys did a great job. I want to thank you for putting on a good show. I want to thank you for black flagging me when I had that oil leak. You guys are the best. Nobody came in and did that, right? But anyway, usually when the line died down, one of the race teams would bring us a platter of hot dogs or hamburgers or something from their grill to make sure we had something to eat. So there's a hot dog on the platter. There's one left. And actually, I think there were two, if I'm not mistaken. There was 2 hot dogs left. So Walt Edsel wanted that hot dog, but there was no mustard on it. So what he did is he went to put mustard on it, and way too much mustard went on this hot dog. So now he took it with his greasy, grimy, grease-laden fingernails, hands, and took the mustard off, is what he needed, and put it on his hot dog. Because he's eating it anyway, so what's the difference? So now the other hot dog, while he's doing it, falls on this grimy, dirty, filthy, greasy floor that was never mopped, never cleaned. Those last times those floor tiles were cleaned is when it came out of the box at the tile place, and it was there for years and years and years. It was nasty and disgusting. So this one driver comes in. He comes in and he says, you know, he wanted to talk to us. He wanted to know if it was too late. And it was actually a positive talk. And we're sitting there, so Walt says to the kid, hey, Skip, would you like a hot dog? No, I'm good. No, have a hot dog. So the guy bites into this hot dog, and we're on the floor laughing because we all know what this hot dog went through. The guy, is that hot dog good? Oh, yeah, it's real good. He's munching away. We're hysterical. Our sides hurt. It was just unbelievable. But, you know, you're right. The 5-second rule did kick in. It was only on the floor for 5 seconds. But it rolled. It rolled on the floor. It rolled on this dirty, greasy, tire juice softener on our shoes floor. I mean, the stuff we did. We had a good time. And Smoochie go, hi, how are you? You spelled hi backwards. It looks like, Joe, like you hiccuped. So, hello. You know, some people say hello when they come on. Some people say hello, everybody. Some people say good night. Some people don't. But it's all good. I have fun with this. And there's some people that come on just to see what I'm going to say, and then they say, "You don't believe he said that?" And, you know, "Oh, he's so full of it." You know, that kind of stuff. And I'm okay with that. You know, it's your right to think that. You know, and the maggot soup. I wasn't going to say maggot soup before. I just said a certain bowl of soup. We're at this fancy place. It's no longer open. It's all shuttered up, and the roof's falling off, and the windows, you know, are falling out of it. But we're at this fancy restaurant, and they serve us the soup. Now, you got to understand that the owners of the racetrack are high-end people, very upper-class people, and what they sometimes forget is some race people just aren't that way. Give them a burger and a beer. Give them their trophy, and it's all good. But we went out, we had this nice dinner, and this soup, nobody knew what the soup was, even though the server couldn't tell us what the soup was. And it had this barley stuff on it, you know, some boiled barley. And if you've ever seen maggots, that's what barley looks like when it's boiled. So I'll eat anything except steak, but I'll eat anything. And and as I'm putting it to my mouth, one of the guys was, "Are those maggots?" Now nobody could eat the soup at the table. Nobody. Except for one guy, this Demolition Derby world champion guy who I'm sure has eaten a lot of stuff in his lifetime that none of us would have eaten. Not only did he eat his soup, I think he ate his wife's soup too. But we had some fun. We had some good times, you know. And that's what happens in racing, because you look back, it is a lot of bad stuff that happens. A lot of bad stuff. And I, for one, could tell you, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens, a lot of stuff that eats at your craw for a long time. But when you look back, you remember the good stuff. I mean, I remember everything, but you remember the good stuff. And the people that you met and the relationships that you had. And that's why we do this. And that's why there's such a passion in auto racing today. And there always was. You could be battling with a guy in a racetrack, side by side, bumper to bumper. Nerf bar, beating and banging, pushing and shoving, trying to take a win away or gain that extra spot, you know. As an old buddy used to say to me, I can't believe we're worried about 19th and 20th. Who cares? You know what? They cared. The 19th to 20th place guy, they cared. And you're right, that's what's missing now, that camaraderie. You know, right now, you push a guy out of the way, you move him up a groove to pass him, and they want to fight you, they want to wreck you. You know, I don't know if I could have raced today, you know, under those circumstances. I just want to go out there and do some laps and drive it off the racetrack. You know, if you want to push me out of the way, you don't have to push me out of the way. I'll move. If you're faster than me, I'll move. I'll get out of the way. But, you know, hold on to the steering wheel in that next corner because I'm going to hit you, but I'll hit you square. I will hit you square. Your helmet might come down over your eyes, but your bumper's going to be my brake pedal. If I give you the lane and you still want to muscle me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. And, you know, I'm a little bit different than I was 20 years ago when I 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when I first started doing this stuff, man. I was always looking to rumble. I was always looking to roll around, you know. And people would say at the end of the night, we go to the diner at the end of the night, yeah, did you win? Yeah, we won. How was your trophy? Oh, we didn't win the race, but we won the fight after. But I don't know. But Silverback, finally on. Are you on because of the stupid computer, or you weren't on because of the stupid computer, Silverback? I don't know, but Silverback trying to get a hold of me for the last couple of days. Silverback, I've been so busy. First of all, the Belmont Stakes. It was, you know, getting there was a nightmare, getting out was a nightmare, but it was all worth it. And, you know, Sunday, I got to tell you what I did Sunday, because I got to explain to you why I didn't go back. Sunday, I'm driving to the store. I got to go to the store. I got to get stuff. Got to get things. We're going. We're sitting there. Okay. I passed the dock where my brother docks his boat. I says, holy cow, there's my brother. He's out. He's working on his boat. Maybe he needs hands. So I make a U-turn. I go in, and he's like, hey, you want to take a ride? Now, I hadn't been on his boat yet. So I said, yeah, we'll take a ride. That was like at 12 o'clock, 11:30. We got back to the dock about 6:30 that evening. It was only a little ride. Spent the whole day. I wasn't prepared. And I got more sunburn than I should have from a week ago when I went to the beach and played golf. But it's all good. But yeah, because of the computer. All right. Silverback still recuperating from his accident, and again he's getting there. But I'm gonna miss when they bring my car down to Riverhead. I'm gonna miss, you know, because my crew isn't gonna come down. See, my crew's up in northern Connecticut, and my spotter is in Massachusetts. I believe he lives on the Cape. So they're not going to come down and spot for me, and they're not going to come down and work on the car. So I'll be like the old days when I first started racing. I'm going to pull in with a flat. I'm going to get out. I'm going to jack my car up. I'm going to change the tire. That's if I could find one, or even if I have one. Then try to get back out. Oh, the gate's going to be closed. You know, it's going to be closed because hey, I didn't make it. I could make it back fast enough, or because. I'm not even going to go there. But Silverback has news for me. I love it. I love it. I hope it's good news, because I've been getting hit with a lot of like not so good news the last couple of days. So if you got some good news for me, it'll be all good. But anyway, let's see. What do we have? We have Pocono this weekend. Last weekend. No, you know what? We're going to talk about Stafford race. Stafford, NASCAR World Modified Tour was at Stafford for their third try at this event. Rain had stopped it twice. But they finally got it in. It was gorgeous. There were some clouds. There were some clouds. I saw some pictures. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. I had an appointment that I had to do and some things I had to take care of, so I could not go to the third attempt. Nor could I go to the second attempt, come to think of it. But anyway, the winner was Doug Colby, followed by Justin Bonsignor. And then we had Bobby Santos, who finished third from the pole. Rowan Pennick was fourth. Woody Pitcat was fifth. Ron Silk was sixth. Patrick Emily was seventh. Ted Christopher was eighth. Ryan Priest ninth. And Glenn Reen rounded out the top 10. I believe Glenn Reen just celebrated a birthday. It was an open house. He put on Facebook. I'm celebrating my birthday if you want to come over. And if I would have had a day's notice, I probably would have took the ride up and spent some time with him. So that was so good. But yes, Stafford. The next event for the NASCAR World Modified Tour will be at Waterford Speed Bowl in Waterford, Connecticut. And that should be a good one. That'll be 1 week prior to the Riverhead Tour race, so it should be good. So we'll see how that goes. Now the Cup. Pocono. I like Pocono. Even though it's a tough place to watch a race from, I still like the race because it's different. It's different with the 3 turns, and each turn different than the other. But there's some good racing that goes on there, and I enjoy it. But Pocono, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets the win at Pocono. Brad Keselowski was second. Kurt Busch was third. Denny Hamlin was fourth from the pole. Kyle Larson was fifth. Jimmy Johnson sixth. Ryan Newman finished seventh. Jeff Gordon eighth. Martin Truex Jr. ninth. And Jamie McMurray rounded out the top 10. Jeff Gordon is on a 16-point lead over Matt Kenseth. Now, as we all know, the points really do not count. The new chase format, you got to have a win and all that kind of nonsense. So they're going to take 16 cars into the day. So the points at this point don't really matter. It's those last events, and I'll tell you what. And again, I've talked about the chase a few times, and one of the things that I understand why NASCAR instituted the chase, and I also respect and I'm glad that NASCAR keeps tweaking it. At first I was like, oh, what, they're changing it again? But you know what? If it's not working to plan, you got to change it. I talked about this during the week on Facebook. Paradigms. A lot of people do it that way because they always did it that way, and they're afraid to make changes. You got to change. You can't go back and say, well, 20 years ago, this is how it was done. And I'm saying that because, somebody had mentioned, well, back in your day, you didn't allow that. No, I didn't. It was a different time. When you have 150 race cars signing into the pit area every week, and when you have 30 or 40 legend cars come up, and you can't park them in your pit area, you got to rope off a parking lot for them, yeah, you do things a little different. You can afford to suspend, send somebody home, throw somebody out. You can afford to do that. When you have a back marker in one class or one division, and they want to, hey, my car is kind of legal for that one. If I make these changes, can I do that? No, you can't. Well, now you have the cars, and I'm going to tell you what, man. And here on Long Island, figure eight cars, trucks, and Chargers are pretty much, they're close. Some of the figure eight cars could be late models. Why? Why would they not let somebody do that? Why would they not let somebody do that? It's because, I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, it's a little close-knit group, and that's why there's only 9, 10, or 12 in certain divisions. Of course, it is a little close-knit group, a little cliquish thing. And, guys, we got to stick together here. Once we let one, and now we'll have 20 cars. And, I like finishing in the top 10 every week. Yeah, well, there's only 9 cars. If you can't finish in the top 10 with 9 cars, you might want to go bowling. But years ago was different. You can't compare now to then. You just can't. You just can't. And the rules have been tweaked, in my opinion, over the years where you're starting to see some overlap. Is that on purpose? Are they trying to make it so there's standardized rules? I know when I was involved with rules in NASCAR when I was on the tour and discussing things. There was some talk about, for the weekly series that have tour-type modifieds, that those tracks follow tour rules. For the most part, those who have modifieds or tour-type modifieds as their feature division, they do, for the most part. Now, when you look at the second division, when you look at what's, the second divisions, do they have the same availability or the same capabilities to do that? I don't know. Maybe they do. But that's what they want to try to do. They want to try to make it so that those cars are the same too. And it goes on and on and on and on. So I don't know if that was going on. I don't know if that's what was happening at some of these racetracks. I don't know if that's why certain racetracks eliminated divisions. Hey, we no longer have, like at Stafford, the SK lights. We don't have enough, so we're just going to cancel them. I don't agree with that. You don't do that so early in the season because it's not costing you anything to put them on the racetrack. So you only have 5, 6, whatever. You let those 5 or 6 men, and you let them know, hey, guys, gals, at the end of the season, if we don't have X, you're not coming back next year. I don't think it's right to cancel a series or a division in the middle of a season or early on into the season. Because, A, some of these teams have sponsor obligations. They've already got the money and spent the money, and now they're not racing. Now, I know if I just plock down $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to sponsor, somebody, and then I'm reading in the press releases, hey, the heavy stock division that I sponsor a car in is no longer running. And I'm going to go to that guy and say, yo, whoa, where's my money? Well, I already spent it. I think those are the things that need to be looked at. I just think it does. So, the other thing is like a couple of divisions, when I say a couple, 3, 4 divisions tops, run every week. That's what I'm saying. Think it should happen. Run every single week. Yeah, some people are going to say, I can't afford to run a full season. But you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of guys who can as well. So you're going to miss a couple. You're going to have, situations. You're going to have a wedding or a funeral or can't get out of work, whatever the case is. You got to do those things. You just got to do those things. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I do know that the key to being a good official is being consistent and treating everybody exactly the same. That's not easy to do sometimes, because, that's where you go to at the end of the night to have a burger and a beer. Now you just made a call against your buddy, and he's not used to that, or she's not used to that. Well, there's so many side deals that are going on with, hey, I'm an oil burner mechanic, so I'll make sure the oil burner in your house is at the top efficiency. Just, give me a break on some of the calls out there. And, and that stuff goes on. Or, well, I'm in the oil business, and I'll drop off 100 gallons this winter to you every once in a while. Just, give some calls, make them go my way. Those are the things that go on, and that goes on. If you don't think that goes on at a top level, think about it. How did Jeff Gordon get in the chase last year when they changed it? Was the last minute? Because Rick Hendrick made some conversations with some powerful people in NASCAR, and said, and I'm only hearing this from the grapevine, and I might have said this already on the show, that we're going to lose our sponsor if Jeff Gordon's on the chase, and if we lose our sponsor, we might not be back next year. You're talking about a big sponsor. They don't want that to happen. So I don't know. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll go into wrap-up mode. We'll be back.
For over 60 years, Hansen Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hansen Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansenCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hansen Carpet has got you covered. Brown and the Killing Devils. Alternative progressive rock like you've never heard before. Over 1 million views on YouTube. New York City Village Voice says Paul is a gifted singer, songwriter, and musician with one of the best progressive rock bands on the planet. LA Underground Music Exchange calls him the only modern American band to cover every genre well. Pick up the albums Black Widow Tears, Red Spider, and The Wizard's Dawn, now on iTunes. And get to Facebook.com/Killing Devils to keep up with the latest info.
this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Kinnear, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on InRadio.com, broadcasting to the world. So come and catch us.
Back. We are back. Anyway, Long Island weather. For those who are not on Long Island, we're calling for rain every day this week, but hopefully the weekend will be good. Get some racing in, wherever that might be. It's funny, I'll see something pop into the chat room. I gotta look up. Wow. But you know, the weekly series, some of these weekly tracks are taking a beating with this weather. And rainouts. What does it, like I started to talk about last week, what does a rainout do? Now think about it. Think about a facility that races 20 times a year. They get like 2 rainouts in a row. That's 10% of their revenue, because some places can't make up these dates. They just, this is their schedule. They can go from May 1st to September 30th. And 20%. Now think about it. Think about if you make $1,000 a week, let's say, $1,000 a week, and so that's $52,000 a year. And all of a sudden, you lose 20% of that. Think about it. That's 10 grand. Like taking 10 grand out of your pocket. And it's no different whether you lose 20% of your salary or 20% of your revenue due to rainouts. So what does a track do when there's a rainout? Do they pull the plug early so they don't go through the expense of trying to dry the track and still have to pay the people that came to try to work it? I can remember years ago getting to the racetrack at 8 o'clock in the morning and we had a threat of rain, and just before practice it started raining, and we worked on the track to save it once it stopped, and we got the track dry, ready to rock and roll. More rain came. We did this a couple of times. We just probably put in a 10-hour day and not be paid for it because we didn't run a show. And now what we're going to get paid from, no revenue came in. I mean, there was pit fees, but because we didn't run anything, all those competitors used that pit pass next week. So it wasn't like they could pay us from that. We worked for free that day, And back then, I was one of those guys. Whoa, I just put in a 10-hour day. I'm not getting paid. And as you get older and you start thinking about these things, there's more to running the racetrack than putting the key in the lock and opening the pit gate and opening the grandstand gate. Say, come on in, build it. We built it. Now you come. There's more to it than that. There's a cost associated with opening the gates. The fixed costs that are associated. The insurance, just the maintenance, just getting ready for that event. Whether it's a regular weekly event or it's a big show, there's a cost associated with it. And when it rains, think about what NASCAR goes through logistically. Take the Stafford event. So you fly 20 officials to Stafford to do their thing, 2 nights in a hotel room. It's rained out. It's going to be next week, like it was. Now, anybody who travels, if you don't book 3 weeks out, you're paying top dollar. It's the only industry in the world where the closer it gets to the date, the more money is. Sometimes you can go to the thrift store and get donuts, but because they're not as fresh and there's only a day left on them, they're a little bit cheaper. Not airline tickets. The closer it gets to the date, the more that ticket goes up. So now they sent these same 20, 25 officials up, 2 nights in a hotel again, rain. Now that's 2 trips, or 2 sets of airline tickets, 4 nights in a hotel, no race, got to go with third time they got it happening. So it's just not good for everyone. Think about some of the food that's prepared. Think about hot dogs and hamburgers. They're going to sell 1,000 hot dogs, 1,000 hamburgers. So guess what they have to buy? 1,000 hot dog and hamburger rolls. They can't use them next week. They wouldn't be fresh. So there's a cost associated with that. So why do you think these tracks do whatever they can to get these races in, to get the track dried and keep the people happy? A lot of people joke about, they're going to call it, let's call this a promoter's rain out because there's a threat of rain. They're afraid nobody's going to come. Does that happen? Yeah, it does. But for the most part, they want to get the event in because they've budgeted their monies annually. They've made plans based on racing X number of nights. You get a rain out, you get 1, you suck it up. You get 2 or 3 rain outs, you're in trouble. You're definitely in trouble. And what happens is on the other accord too is that take tracks that don't have divisions that run every week. Now think about this. Case in point, let's and I don't know if this is factual, but let's say you take a track out in the Midwest and have a division that they're going to have 3 weeks off in August. The last race in July, they're rained out. Now they have the 3 weeks off. Now that's 4 weeks off. The first week they're due back, they're rained out. They haven't run in 5 weeks. Think about that. Think about it as a competitor. Now some of you are going to say, well, I save money on tires and fuel, but you know what? Then you're not a true competitor. I would race every week if I could, every week. And you know what? Some of these guys and gals who don't like having nights off, they've done that. They've gone to other facilities to race, and they see that it's a little bit different. And they said, you know what? Maybe it's worth coming, driving an hour, 2 hours, in some cases 3 hours to race every week. Some people have even thought about it. I've talked to some people who like running, in Pennsylvania from Long Island, that they're even considering putting a race shop, near the Evergreen Speedway, so that they only have to not load everything and reload and go back and forth, take the trailer over the bridges and through the tunnels and over the river and through the woods, twice on a weekend. It's already there, so they just go in the car. Because anybody that's tried to get off the island in a truck and trailer or a tractor trailer, the expense associated with that is astronomical. So think about that. Think about your inconvenience. You're a race team. Think about it. You loaded up the cooler. You know what? You go back to your house, and instead of having your party outside, you can still eat your food and you can still drink the drink. The gas that you purchased, you could use next week. See, racetracks can't do that. So my hat's off to any racetrack that does whatever they possibly can to get that show in. And I don't mind sitting there watching them dry the track, because I paid money to go watch a race, and I want to watch a race. I'm not going to go home. I'm not going to sit there 6 hours and go home. And and I'm not a big race fan. I'm not. Believe it, I'm not. I don't enjoy sitting there watching racing. What do they say? If you're a race car driver, you don't like to watch races. You want to be in them. I'm not saying I'm a big time race car driver, like I was referred today. I was a superstar. I'm not. But sometimes races to me are boring, especially when the car counts. I'd rather see 20, 25 cars. I'd rather see guys door handle all day, banging, pushing, and shoving and racing. let's see, Silverback saying it's $25 for an event at Stafford Motor Speedway, and it's free for 4-year-old and under. Why can't they do free for 10 and under? It's supposed to be a family thing. No, I agree with that. I've always said, and I know I got to wrap up, but I always said there should be a family plan. A family of 4 should pay a flat rate. So what if they bring the neighborhood? Who cares? Anyway, I'm getting that thing there, like, you know. I wrap it up. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for taking. I know the Rangers are playing in the Stanley Cup. I know some guys cut off early to do that. I will pass on some information about the background screen again. Some of my chat room people don't like the background, and so we'll see what we can do about that. But I appreciate your feedback, and we'll try to. This is your show as much as it is mine, so we'll try to make it happen. Anyway. I hope everybody has a great week, wherever your endeavors may take you. Remember prayers for my buddy John Trotter Jr., that everything works out as it's supposed to be by the plan. And any of you other folks out there that are suffering some health issues or have a family member that's suffering a health issue, let's all say a prayer for each other, because we all have something going on. All right, folks, anyway, have a good week. Be safe. Tell somebody that you love them, and God bless you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.